Welcome back to another episode of building a house with mud and straw. Over the last few weeks, I've been adding to the build by sourcing free or cheap materials, such as oak beams for the floor joists and pallet wood for the flooring. I've also managed to find some free windows, straw bales, a wood stove, and even a sink, which I'll put in at a later date. As for the roof, well, I've managed to buy some fencing rails, which a local farmer sold to me for cheap. The whole idea of this project is to see if I can build a simple, somewhat primitive house with natural materials, such as clay and straw. And I'm also going to be using a few things I can find along the way, for example by using Facebook or local free ads in order to get free or cheap things that'll be useful in there. So the question is, what is my budget and how much have I spent so far? So please stay tuned until the end of the video to find out how much this is costing me. The day has come, the thatch has arrived, and it will soon be time to thatch the roof. So, as you can see, everything was going smoothly. The bales were being stacked, tied and then pinned together. Chicken wire mesh was being attached to the bales using hazel spars, and then it was time for mixing up the cob. Cob is a combination of clay, sand and straw. When mixed together with a bit of water, it turns into nature's concrete. The ratio of sand to clay will depend on the clay you're using. So the local farmer helped me out. He brought his tractor down and we dug a massive hole in this field, less than 20 meters away from where the build is taking place. You can't get any more local than that. So I made up a load of pizza dough, gathered a few friends, put on some music, and this is what happened. Okay, if you don't like annoying music or flashing images, please skip forward 30 seconds. It's now a few days later and there's been some great progress. The straw walls are up and the windows are in. But the thing is, there's lots of rain forecast next week, so I've decided to work on the roof, getting it ready for the reed to be thatched. And for the reed to be thatched to the roof, I've made these battens using hazel and I've shaved off the bark, and then I've secured the hazel to the rafters. I've secured them every 12 inches, which is going to make it easier when it comes to attaching the reed thatch to the roof. I'm estimating it to take another 3 days of prep for the roof, and then I'll be ready. Once the roof is on, I'll be continuing the inside. But the reason why I'm doing this is because there's a lot of rain forecast in about 6 days from now, and I'm starting to panic. So I have just ordered a big tarp which I'll be draping over it in order to keep it dry. That's if I don't manage to thatch it in time. I do have a few questions. So my question is, should I whitewash the inside? Will it make it brighter? Let me know in the comments. So now it's time to talk about how much money I've spent on this project so far. So to begin with, I purchased the oak flooring, which cost £130. And that was just second-hand oak from a farmer not far from here. Then I've spent £52 on screws, nails and bolts. The windows, well, they were free. Then do you remember the wood stove I bought? Well, maybe we'll talk about that shortly. But that cost me 30 actually. It was 50, but I got him down to 30. Nice guy. You know, if you don't ask, you don't get. I said, would you take 30? He said, no problem. So let's talk about the wood stove. I'm having second thoughts because I think it's just too big. Although I got it for £20 cheaper than the asking price, I still think it's too big for what I need it for. So I'm tempted to use another wood stove, which I have in another shelter, a lovely stainless steel wood stove with an oven, with a firebox, and you can cook on the top of it as well. I just think, you know what? Scrap that, bring in my other one from the other woods and use that. And then I got a sink. The sink was free as well. That I'll put in once the roof is on and the walls have been finished. And the pallet wood, well, the floor was made from pallet wood, so it's taken days and days in order to remove these slats of wood from the pallets to put down on the floor, and I think the floor looks great. I also bought chimney pipe sections. They were £20 and I got 7 of them. I've already broken 2, so yeah. And then I spent £210 on straw. The wire fencing, well, I had wire fencing in my shed. I've had that for years, ever since I had a few chickens about 4 years ago. And it wasn't doing anything, so I thought, why not just reuse it? But it wasn't enough, so I've spent another £20 on top of that on more. Now the rafters for the roof, they were sourced from a local farmer. He had them in a barn. They were unused for several years. And when I explained the project to him a few weeks ago in the pub, he said to me, well, he gave me his number. I went around the next day and there we are. For £100, I managed to get about 25 of these 3.6 meter lengths. He wasn't using them, and they're perfect for the roof. And then I bought some rings with screws on, and I want to be placing them within the shelter to turn into anchor points for a hammock. So that brings it to a grand total of £568. So that's the total so far, and there's still about another £200 to £350 to spend on reed for thatching the roof. Can I actually do this for under £1,000? It's gonna be tight. So I'd like to reach out to everyone watching. My question to you is, what would you do if this was your project? What do you want to see in this natural eco house? What should I build? The only way to let me know is by leaving me a comment below. Also, I want to give a big thank you to everyone that helped out on the day applying cob to the walls. That was friends, family, and subscribers. You know who you are. So who's up for coming to the housewarming party? Let me know. And on that note, I just want to say thanks for watching. I know it's not my normal woodland type of content. I'll be back in the woods very soon. But one thing I'm really looking forward to is the first overnighter in the eco cabin. If you haven't hit the red button already, please hit the red button. See you next week. Goodbye.